All right. Welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 84. So, updates for the day. I didn't get too much work done on the next video. Did a little bit on the script. Mostly did random errands today. Responded to the accountant. Signed some forms. Did some other stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much for the daily update. And as usual, we'll continue on with the development work on the block mining simulation game. Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. Aryan girl says hi. I can't tell. I can't really see if that's Gary or girl. Sorry, font's too small. Blur's too much. So yesterday I succeeded Geary, okay. I can't, there's no way for me to make that window bigger without it'll mess up the I can like control zoom on it to make it bigger, but I need like a dedicated monitor to put my chat on so I can actually read it. Or I guess I could wear my contacts, but I'm supposed to wear glasses, but I just don't wear them because they're too much work. I got contacts too, but they're also such a pain to put contact lenses in every day. Like now that I think about it, I almost can't believe that I actually did that for a while, putting them in and taking them out all the time. All right. So, yesterday, I think at the end of the stream, I think I actually had still a couple bugs, but after this morning I kind of finished it off and committed it. And I consolidated some of the code. It's actually much slower now, and that makes sense why. But the point is, it still works, as far as I can tell. Yep. Guess that's an interesting edge case to consider with the layer merging. All right. So that works. So the point of what I've been doing, I basically, previously I had about, I think it was like 5 different functions. And I basically collapsed all of those functions into this function, which is now quite a bit shorter. So now I can start optimizing that. Actually, I think the next thing I may optimize is this function. So the first thing is I'm going to swap the order so that's going to go here. And in the function we need to swap the order. Right, man, how's it going? Ever read Masters of Doom? Never heard of it. Is it a, I guess it must be a book. About ID software? Oh, okay. I think I may have watched like a documentary about them long time ago and forgotten most of it. Carmack is genius. Coder goat. Yeah, what really impresses me is his stamina. Like he's done a few talks, like a few like live audience talks that you can look up on YouTube, and he'll just go up to the microphone and just talk. It's almost like a prepared speech that he just talks for hours and hours and hours, and there's no. It's like a very planned out speech. Man, I really admire how you code live. It's inspiring. I've got to work on my HTTP lab now. Keep it up. Doing great. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, honestly, I think, I've been reflecting a bit more on like my, coding style and quality. I guess I'm kind of surprised I don't get more people like calling me out and grilling me on being like, you're not doing this right. I know a lot of people have like no backseating or something, but I guess I haven't gotten too much of that. Maybe it's just because I don't have enough viewers. Once I'm as big as Pirate Software, then people will go back over all the code I've written and be like, this guy's a noob. Hack the box. Cybersecurity training. Interesting. I think Carmack is a C++ guy. Yeah, there was actually I did a video about the pinky command. If you check my channel, there's a video on the pinky command, and for that one I mostly talked about the finger command, and because the pinky is like supposed to be a modern version of finger, but it's like really neutered and stuff, because finger was subject to like a massive worm attack back in the day, and apparently John Carmack was one of the people who maintained like a finger server. Like he had I think it's actually a GitHub repo. Yeah, actually, I think if you watch that video, you will find. I think I have a screenshot where I zoom in on the John Carmack's repo of that. Someone like archived all of his finger updates, or I don't know, what do you call them? Finger publications. It's kind of a neat idea, but. Terminal-based social network. occasionally had one Unix box in the office set up as a multi-user server. They used Finger to keep track of daily updates. What is the file in home dir that Finger shows? Can't remember. I forget. I actually I set up a Finger server for the purpose of making that video. I don't know. I can't remember. The first thing I would probably look at is like I would go look at my video to see if I have that in there somewhere. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's just some file you put in the home directory. Remember using it on early internet, the days of UUCP and IRC. Interesting, the glorious old days that will never be here again. It's going to be the internet is becoming so like it's becoming so like stimulating and like oversaturating now that I don't know, like it almost seems like like we may soon reach an inflection point where like going near a computer is going to be like borderline dangerous. Like if you just walk up to a computer, the computer will know everything about you, and it'll show you the most interesting thing possible, and then scam you and take all your money, or like it'll show you something that just destroys your brain, and you'll think about it and get addicted to it immediately. Everyone had static IP, no security whatsoever. I guess the amount of stuff you could do back then was also less. People relied on it less. So I guess if you got totally rooted. Dot plan. Yeah, that makes sense. That rings a bell. I'll probably be cynical, similar to a few cycles of computing itself. Big mainframes want to use the CPUs more, so we get batch, then time sharing. Oh, it'll probably be cyclical, not cynical. That's essentially like a middle school level joke. Then came the PC revolution. Everyone had their own compute ability. Soon cloud comes around. And we're back to large computers. I think the thing that's different now is AI. Like AI in the awareness of what like user tracking and the massive amount of like data broker information on people. It's going to make things different this time. And like, for example, on Twitter, I mean, it's going to be an arms race. I think like on at least some platforms, some kind of like digital ID is going to happen. And I don't even think it's going to be about I don't think it's going to be about government, censorship or surveillance. That's not going to be the driving factor. It's going to be like you log onto Twitter, and there's even like paid accounts and stuff, and like you'll be constantly getting bombarded with things that look real, like real people that are like actually paying members, but it's actually like Russian bots. Yeah, is this a real person or a bot? That's going to be everywhere. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Like even on Twitter now, there's so much nonsense, and I can't tell if they're bots or just like people who are not all there mentally. Like just because someone says something that's kind of nonsense or seems like they're talking strangely doesn't mean they're a bot, because we already have bots that can speak in a much more coherent way. And again, it's almost like makes them more likely to be human, like a drunk human or something. CBDC, central bank digital currency. Yeah, who knows? Only the freakiest of bots will survive. That's probably true. Might have to consider one as I ponder properties of numbers this weekend. Got some tea with me tonight. Smoking's bad for your lungs. Let's see, will this work? Probably won't. Nice. $10. Thank you to James Goodrich. Gonna head out early. Try not to break the world too much. Thank you very kindly. Have a good night. Google takes $3. It is a scam in a way, but I've reflected on it. But from like a business perspective, I think it does make sense just to like allow the scam, because Google also brings in the users, and I guess by virtue of Google's own self-preservation, I assume the more money that Google makes off of the stream, the more likely they are to bring people into the stream, and also to bring relevant people because if someone super chats, that means they really like the content. So it's a signal to Google to do more of that. Oh, that's random. I was going to say viewers is low, but it says concurrent viewers 2. There's 3 down there. And it says 12 up there. Which is it? Is it 3 or 12? It's a very big difference. Dark days. What does that mean? Made a comment about COVID and it censored you? Yeah. That's the censorship, Orwellian censorship world that we live in. They're still up to that garbage in 2025. The scam has been exposed. Yeah, I honestly don't even follow that stuff anymore. It's just like it was always like a controversy, and like I'm so over that. I don't even have an opinion on it. And there's so much like deliberate secrecy, but also like reason for people to cover stuff up, and also just people who don't know what they're talking about, people who are ideologically married to certain positions, and the remedy phase of their antitrust lawsuits are coming up in September. Maybe we'll see some changes. Maybe the AI is getting smart enough that it can follow this conversation, and it's going to say -1 to this channel. Should read The Real Dr. Fauci by RFK Jr. Yeah, I know of. Supposedly there was way more like funding and deliberate research on gain of function research and stuff, and I'm sure there's lots of truth to that. It's just question is, what can I do about it all? I got too much stuff to do. I gotta focus on making money and building stuff. Maybe we could work some conspiracy theories and your DSP world on plans to spice things up. Yeah, I mean, I could propose some conspiracies. That way people wouldn't even have to theorize about them. Just be like, it's real. All right, my merge function doesn't work. I should have been more careful. In my refactoring. You know what? That was too much. Let's restart. Funny that substituting 0 gets by the filter. I'm expecting RCMP to knock down my door any minute. What if they come and knock down my door? And then they tell me, you better ban all those people in your chat. Brown shirts in Ontario. I don't know what that is. Down with OPP. Does that stand for Ontario Provincial Police? Honestly, I don't even know all the distinctions between the Ontario Police and RCMP and RCMP were ticketing kids for playing baseball here during COVID. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I put that on, whoever. The police are bound to, enforce the law, not set the law arbitrarily based on their own preference. But for stuff like that, the problem was that the law exists in the first place. And realistically, I think it's it is good that the police do not arbitrarily pick and choose what laws they enforce or refuse, or because then that's a very slippery slope. If the police start saying, you know what, I don't really agree with this law, let's not enforce that. But I mean, that puts them in when they start enforcing laws that most people don't agree with. Smoking Tim Hortons and be okay. Yeah, that's I remember hearing. I think I'm pretty sure this was in Canada. There was a story of someone, I think, who was they were smoking cigarettes in a public place, and they got I don't know, a ticket or a sanction or something like that, and right next to them there was someone smoking crack or some kind of safe supply stuff. And so they're okay, so if I smoke an illegal drug, a controlled substance, it would not be a problem. But for cigarettes, it is a problem because that's just how the law was. There's a law in the books for it. Is your procedurally generated mine with persistence save seed? Yes, it saves to a SQL-like database. Maple Ridge, BC, 20-minute drive. I'm not sure of the significance of that place. Is that to where some of those laws are in effect? Honestly, I don't even know what the law is anymore for a lot of stuff. We've been passing so many new sweeping laws and changes, especially during COVID. They rammed through a whole bunch of laws that changed just a whole bunch of stuff, and everyone was distracted with COVID, so It's a crack smoking incident in Tim Hortons. Yeah, not surprising. Luli. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're soliciting something, you haven't been chatting, so I don't know what you're talking about. Why you want people to add you? My idea is a fun is the known one. I don't know what you're talking about. Will fast food chains on your DSP have Tim Hortons for American troops? Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. The chat conversation's going downhill a bit, so let's try to. I don't know what you want to talk about, but maybe something a bit more wholesome. Okay, that's a bit of progress. Robert, I am a subscriber. I just came and thought this was lame. I wanted some actual fun since the solicitation. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're soliciting, but JK chill man. I don't know. I'm just confused. To me, it just looks like a spam or something else. It's a terminal-based block mining game written in Java. Hacks Max. Is it a? Did I miss a chat? Oh, I see Hacks Max's response. Maybe I missed his question. Persistent procedurally generated map. Yes. So the file is in. Well, if you just run it, actually, java-jar. So if you just run the jar like this, it'll start the game, and then it generates some of the world. So this is the initial map. Super laggy right now still. It's blank inventory. And you can press M to mine blocks. And then the world file is by default. That's the default world file. So it's a SQLite database. SQLite 3, I think. So now and then this is the database with the data. You can play the block mining game for interactive fun. Yeah. Why don't you play the block mining game? Do you use Plex or Jellyfin as media server? I don't. Do you listen to yourself if you wanted to help me out as much? I wanted to help you. You could teach me some fun block mining. If you wanted to help me out as much as I wanted to help you, you would teach me some fun block mining. Sounds like nonsense to me. Would it be possible to develop the game as a scaffolding or engine, principally similar to Conway's Game of Life? How could one develop the game as an engine or foundation? I am kind of developing in a way that I would like to make it kind of quite general. The model, actually, I was thinking once I get the UI bugs fixed and make it efficient, the next thing I'm going to work on some server-side stuff, and one of the kind of proofs of concept is I'll probably implement like a Conway's Game of Life thing, so you can you can actually just see, you'll have a block type that's just like Conway's Game of Life block type, and then as a test case have like a server process that actually steps forward the evolution of Conway's Game of Life. Lily is suspect. Yes, I agree. If this game is exclusively terminal-based, couldn't it be functional and graphic systems could be developed in such a way that it could be implemented using dedicated game engine? Yeah, eventually, that would be the goal. I think the plan is to get like well, there's already a lot of like data structures and stuff that would work and be useful. If you wanted to make it to like transform the existing game world into 3D right now, but I think probably by like day 100, I will probably have a lot of these user interface issues fixed, and then I think I'm gonna desperately need to move on to some more interesting new game features. I think steps toward multiplayer, which will also take a long time to finish off. That would be I think a pretty killer feature. Yeah, I think even with the game world as simple as it is, it'd be pretty interesting with multiplayer. always wondered what it would be like to have a game like Minecraft, where cellular automata are implemented in a mechanically sensible and engaging manner. What if the player was one to... Yeah, Minecraft is... there's a lot of interesting potential in Minecraft, but the Minecraft engine is not a... Like, there's a lot of issues with chunk loading. That seems to be for any kind of like advanced, impressive Minecraft feature. There's a lot of hacks and stuff that are necessary to keep chunks loaded, and that seems to break anything mechanical you try to build. Tie the game back to the DSP. DSP, what does that stand for in this context? I have the ability to mine fast food games, send money to provide healthcare for obedient cats. Actually, I was thinking about maybe think about ways to fit like the game, some fantastical ideas, but like deep sea. Okay, yeah. Like you're mining iron ore to build the deep water port. That's like one of the things, and and then the setting could be Axel Heiberg, and eventually I'll maybe improve the terrain generation, and I could maybe do like a deep dive into like that, and actual research into like the mineral compositions and map like the biome types for Axel Heiberg or something. Didn't watch the world domination video, do you? Yeah, I guess Radman, did you watch the my plans for world domination video? I have more context in that. Yeah, I think it would. That's a good idea, and one that I had as well, about like merging those concepts together. Okay, this might do what I want. didn't watch it, watch your old video about bit flipping. You may get 0.002 for my view, but I used ad block. Yeah, that video doesn't get many views, but my hope is that someday, I think that maybe the audio and some of the pacing was not the greatest to hook people, but my hope is maybe someday there'll be some major disaster caused by bit flips, and then maybe it'll start trending and get shared. I should probably pay for YouTube Premium. I almost wonder if maybe I kind of wonder if YouTube Premium might actually make less money than serving ads, because even when you don't click on ads, I think something people don't realize is if you don't click on an ad at scale, that is worth just as much money as if you do click on an ad, because a lot of ad campaigns are just like identifying user groups that are interested in a particular ad. Apologies in advance for AI summary. The source outlines an elaborate plan for world domination, beginning with generating capital from video game and live streaming to fund a deepwater port on Axel Heiberg Island in the Arctic. The new society would be underground for warmth, powered by a massive heat pump, and its economy would be focused on fast food airport, medical instrumentation, semiconductors, and a unique institute for behavioral equestrianism. Other ventures include AI-powered misinformation services, aquaponics, defense manufacturing, animal care, and underground technology raves. The immigration policy is unlimited for specific skilled individuals and those willing to contribute. The ultimate goal of world domination is achieved through I find it like even though it shouldn't surprise me, but I always find it so interesting when I write something like that and then the AI it can actually coherently describe and echo back everything. And often I find it can understand jokes and stuff. The AI destroys a lot of the humor, of course. Yeah, I think it's it also has to be it's a challenge for the AI, because there's even people that some of the jokes I made, people say I have very dry humor. There are a lot of people who just don't get it, and they take things seriously, so that statistically speaking, the AI has to kind of hedge its bets. There were multiple flaws in my previous inquiry. My intent was to ask if you'd be willing to implement a dynamic and interactive player, an NPC, LLM-driven cellular automata in the sandbox game. Implement dynamic and interactive player. There already technically already is dynamic and interactive player interaction. LLM-driven interaction, that's a different thing, but for that I would need some kind of the question is, what would be the interface? What kind of tokens would you input to the game? Sources outline a plan for free socialized healthcare for kitty cats within the new society on Axel Heiberg. However, this healthcare is only for good quality cats. In addition to this healthcare policy, the overall plan includes establishing an animal sanctuary. Okay, I guess at that point it's just kind of verbatim repeating back what I said. noticed you mentioned Cyberpunk e-girls before. They offered a job or something. Yeah, I guess that was back when I had a little bit more spare cash to do some experiments with. I'd like to do just experiments to see like what kinds of things are good for marketing. Like for I did an experiment just trying out some. Actually commissioned an artist. This is just before AI art took over. And I got an artist to like make some custom artwork and just to see like, is this something I can sell? Like, is this a profitable endeavor to just sell a physical product? And I think I've sold like a few $100s worth. But there's a lot of it's a lot of overhead. If I had to way bigger numbers, maybe it makes sense. For the e-girl thing, I mean, I thought it would be like there's tons of just so-called influencers and stuff out there. I wonder if I can just find some women that are actually interested in technology somehow and just get them like pay them some money to do like memes about Linux or something, about like Arch Linux or. But it's I think it's a small talent pool. What I'm proposing is a multi-layered simulation in which there are hidden dynamics directing the behavior of semi-discrete potential distributions, living cell clusters within the game. The implementation of this whole game is everything is a block. So everything is at an XYZ in this 3D world, and every cell in the block is an arbitrary piece of data between like 0 and potentially infinite bytes, and those 0 and infinite bytes can be like input and interpreted in whatever way you want. So the like right now, the actual data type, the actual raw data. I guess eventually I'll have to implement like a hex editor basically for this thing. But so the actual like byte string for this is so that's the text of it. It's just I just put cas : and then the number. So at a given XYZ coordinate, this is the block data for a rock, and this is the block data for iron oxide and so forth. And then the idea will be, in the future, there could be like more complex block types that would be interpreted in whatever way you want. So I guess whatever you're describing could be implemented, but it's not living cell clusters. So the game itself, like the model of the world, is quite dumb. So to make it to if you want to call it like living cell clusters, there would have to be some the way I'm actually thinking about designing it now is I'm probably going to make the like server threads that manipulate the world are actually just going to be like clients. They're going to have the same interface to the world, except instead of having like a visual interface where you can walk around like this, they will just be they basically be like client bots that manipulate the world, and maybe they have like some different permissions and access. So to implement like something to do with a cell cluster, the thread would just like monitor like regions of the world and say like, okay, there's a cluster of 4 blocks together here. When there's 4 blocks of a certain type together, what happens in that case? Through something like that, you could implement Conway's Game of Life, and there would be a tick, like I don't know, 50 millisecond tick or something like that. So every every 50 milliseconds, it would basically do a ping to all of the server threads to see like, okay, do I need to evolve forward the world? So like a nanomachine that's engaging with carcinogenic cells. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. For now, I'm just going to stick to like the mining process. But of course, once it actually works better, then I could implement more interesting stuff. That sounds tight, Dr. Elder. Excellent. Glad you think so. It's basically the same game, but conceptualized as a nanobot miner. And a cell instead of ore. Descriptions might be different, but the action could be the same. Sad to hear that cyber girls have been unemployed by AI. Yeah, I mean, I think there's like I said in my video, I think there's a ton of like there's a ton of talented women on like Instagram and stuff who are I've noticed, like it kind of seems like most women who go and do Instagram stuff kind of settle into their own. I've noticed there's a lot of women that do like the fashion stuff, and they try to pursue, like they buy a bunch of expensive outfits and stuff, and they have a certain like aesthetic and thing. And in a way, it almost seems like a lot of social media, as social media caters to what people are interested in, people get into their own like gendered echo chambers. So what women see on the internet these days, I think, is very different from what most men see, because I guess most women are interested in different topics, which is further also becoming a societal problem, because it's like we're living in two different worlds. Alright, that might do what I want. Men and women have been posited as living in two different worlds for as long as there have been men and women. I don't think it's a social media problem. I don't know. I think, of course, there's inherent differences, but those differences have been exacerbated over time, I think. Because I mean, in this day and age, like it used to be that people lived in communities and societies, and like it was very rare to have like 100 years ago to live in a place that was just 100% male or 100% women. But I think these days it's a lot more common. Yasa Tyser. Hi, Robert. We spoke yesterday. Wanted to say hello. How's it going? How do I get onto the female side of the internet as a male? Might be something interesting I'm missing out on. I have to say honestly, that is actually getting harder. Like there's certain, like the default strategy, which I guess you can still do, is just go on like social media sites and things where they're just known to have more female demographics. So Pinterest, I think, is one. There's just if you look at the content, it's on there. There's a lot more women. There's a lot of like crafts and very like nice aesthetics and stuff. If you look at like there's certain news organizations, like a pretty simple like algorithm for looking for it is there's a growing gender divide in politics. So if you look at like I think it's mostly liberal-leaning media, there's a lot more like actually a perfect example is every once in a while I go on cbc.ca just to see what is there, and I think CBC's demographics lean much more female than male. So if you go to like cbc.ca and just like look at some of the articles that are there, I think that's I think a better representation of what women see on the internet. And on YouTube skews very much male. Actually, I think on I checked the demographics for this stream. I don't think I've ever seen anything other than 100% male for the demographics on this stream. So then there's 28 people here, apparently. But according to Google, there's zero. It's 28 men, 0 women. So this is an example of what the male audience sees. So, in order for the numbers to balance out, there has to be stuff out there that, whether it's like I don't know, knitting streams or who knows. Also, I think TikTok also has a very much a catered feed. But I found something interesting with TikTok is every aspect of the platform is so much more like strange and sketchy. And if every time I actually like watch any substantial amount of TikTok, I find myself like questioning reality. And it's also I find it's hard, like because there's no navigation really on TikTok. It's hard to see what other people are seeing, so it'll based on some kind of algorithm, TikTok will decide to just show you a certain type of content. And I found even I actually tried to share some links with some people saying like, hey, here's some examples of stuff on TikTok. And when I shared the links, within a couple of days, all of the links were like completely broken, and they couldn't actually see the content. And that was before the flood of AI content. I can't imagine how bad it is now. Ever used LLMs for coding? I've not. It's high up on my to-do list. Once I get through a bunch of stuff, I get asked almost every stream if I have. I've tried out like coding in ChatGPT and stuff, but the results I've seen are like really interesting and impressive. But I think the bottleneck is like the ability to actually like interact with the code base as opposed to just a ChatGPT prompt, which I guess is a lot better now. And they invented the whole model context protocol thing, which I guess works pretty well now. We're up to 33 viewers tonight. Must be a really exciting stream. Danning says, hey, how's it going? Yeah, let's see if that works or if that breaks everything. All right. What is it doing? There it goes. JetBrains is back. Yeah, I had to, not necessarily nasty. I would like to go in and inspect state, rather than just put in like a debug and test, and I could just solve it with printfs, but next I just realized I think this should be greater than or equal to. We'll see if it trips. Need a faster computer. I need like 100 computers. You say world domination. What is your definition of world domination? I have a video specifically on this topic. If you check my channel for a video called My Plans for World Domination. Nikolay Alexandra Uncut sends a waving hand. How's it going? I'll check it out. Thanks, mate. No worries. That's weird. That's kind of what I saw in the command line. It just seems to... It doesn't do anything. Even though it's, I'm pretty sure it's... I think this needs to be greater than or equal to. $38 concurrent viewers. Wow. The viewership is going up a lot. Must be the blessings of Mr. Goodrich. Yeah, maybe. Although I don't know, it's there's not a lot of chats. I kind of wonder how many are real people. Why is this doing the thing that it's doing? It's not launching the application. It's not segfaulting. I wonder if this is... Did something change? Why am I not able to debug? Do that. Okay, that'll break point. Huh, that's very strange. Login password says, "Hi, Dominator. How's it going?" And that's why. All right. Why is it still in the loop? Nice. That's not quite right. Everything is shredded. B. Stoker says, yo, how's it going? Man, that's crazy looking. Now, why does that happen? All right. It looks like there's an issue with the changed flags somewhere. lag is now, it's unbelievably laggy. I guess I can probably use this change. It's still way laggier, but I also reduced the code size. And technically it works if I just set everything to be changed. I think it's missing. There's like a changed region or something that's not getting added. But it's a lot simpler than the code I had before. So now all the layer merging is just down to this function and this function. So actually, I guess next time I may be able to move on. I might just make some unit tests, and then in making the unit tests I'll probably be able to figure out where the exact bug is here. You know what? That's probably that should be this. Maybe this will fix everything. Oh wow, that did. Apparently. Oh, that's not right. It's almost. That's an interesting bug. Good stuff, almost. Yes, exactly. So I think that'll happen if... So to make this thing faster, when I update the screen, I add what the? I just saw this? Did you just join the stream? I think, so I have these screen region objects that I add to keep track of what area of the screen has actually been changed. So that way, when I iterate through this loop, I'm not, like if I changed like one block, it only does this loop iteration for like 4 blocks instead of the entire array. I just watched the How to Make CPU, then I saw you were live. I see you raising funds for world domination. Oh, so if you want more context on the raising funds for world domination video, if you check about, there's a video on my channel called my plans for world domination. That'll give more context on my world domination plans. And this here is a video game that I'm developing. bet that it's going to be down to the following. Murphy says, hello, I was late to stream. I was at a friend's house. That's good. You're getting your social contact. All right, I think that just fixed my bug. Wow, and it's not horribly laggy. Oh, it's still got bugs. Interesting. Oh, you know what that is? That's the active layer thing. Good job, big dog. Thank you. Although I still have regressions. I like how smooth that is now. After all, that is the whole point in all this many days of refactoring. It's a good amount of viewers. Wow, it is 36. Why is the views so high tonight? I don't know. It's been going up. I wonder if it's bots. Type 1 in the chat if you're a bot. I guess there's no ones. That proves it. There are no bots watching. Interesting idea. Really, how long do you think it will take you to save 12 billion? Probably a while, but I think if you just think positive, that'll make it go faster. For anyone who's not, you broke the pattern. Let's see. Do you have moderators? I don't have any anyone who's listed as a mod, but I have I actually just use the top chat feature up there, so that does like auto moderation. I do manual moderation. Like if someone starts spamming, then I'll put them under timeout or ban respectively, depending on how bad their behavior is. Does this count as spamming? For that little iteration of counting, I wouldn't. I think I'm going to try to just make my rules simple. So if people are doing things that interfere with people's ability to benefit from the chat, then that's along the lines of what I'll ban and moderate and stuff. And in this context, it's just a fun little counting to 11, and it doesn't go on, so it's not a big deal. But if people like start spamming that over and over, like if people are trying to have a conversation about something and then someone starts spamming that for no reason, and then I say, please don't do that, then they keep doing it, then I'd probably put them in a timeout or something. Do you have the slow chat on? Probably, yeah. I guess I have it on like the default. Robert, is YouTube your only job? Yes. For this, I just finished my business taxes for this year, and YouTube is currently the largest revenue source I have at the moment. And it's the only thing that's shown any growth over the last few years, so I think it makes sense to just keep doing more of it. Yeah, it's exciting to the possibilities. Although I still need to get the income up because it's not good. I'm like, I can pay my rent and food, but I'm not too far above that. We'll donate tomorrow. You said you were pretty young yesterday. Save your money, invest it, buy some more of that Nvidia stock that I should have bought 10 years ago, and I would have had $5 million today. Sold the stock? That was very fast. Have a good night, everyone. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. Better than not being able to pay for rent and food. Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of people in worse situations. It went up 70%. Excellent. Starting to drop. It's hard to predict the future of the stock market, though. But that's good that you. Sounds like you sold it at a profit. Made $20 even though I only put in $6. Well, take that take that money and then reinvest it, and then make $100, and then when you get $100, turn that $100 into $1,000. About AMD. Yeah, I imagine that a lot of those are they're probably heavily correlated now. Going to buy some Intel. Nice. I stay in Los Angeles and the cost of everything is ridiculous. Unfortunately, I have a car note of 17 grand. Still in working on paying it off. Got a Toyota Prius. Look at all my maintenance is very cheap. Yeah, there's just there's so many things that constantly. I felt like I was getting ahead a bit, but then I had to do my business taxes, and I just was doing back and forth with the accountant today, and it's probably going to be like $2,000 to have my taxes done again. And it was expensive, a few years ago, and then I looked for a new accountant to get the cost down, and then that accountant got acquired, and then we've had a high inflation for a few years, so it's like they charged me $750, but now, even though I'm technically with the same accountant, it's back up to like $2,000 again. Well, I'm going to sleep. Have a good night. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. So I guess there's an issue. When I set the active state, $2,000. Yeah, business taxes are expensive. Can you pay your bills in lines of code? How long have you been doing coding? And all these software things. I started coding when I was 14. I graduated from university in 2014 and then started my business. And been doing that ever since. And historically I'd done like custom software consulting, and I help like startups and stuff. And I have a bunch of videos about how that didn't really work out very well financially. If you're interested in the detailed history, but my strategy is for businesses has just been like keep doing things that work and then double down on what is showing growth and more revenue. In 2019, I started doing a bit of YouTube. I thought it was just like an advertising mechanism. And I did a couple like small Kickstarter campaigns to try that out. And as part of the projects, I made a couple of videos, and then things kind of just grew from there. And let's see. So two tax years ago, the revenue was, I think, like $400 that I recorded on my tax return. Then last year's YouTube revenue was $6,000, and then this year's, the taxes I just filed, the YouTube revenue was $27,000, which is still not great, but it is growing. So if it continues to grow from 300 to 6,000 to 27,000 to I guess it doesn't even need to grow as much this year, but if there's any growth at all, then I'll still be I'll have my head above water. Your videos are funny and entertaining. I hope the business world comes to know you. Thanks. Yeah, it'd be nice to. I've been doing this business thing long enough. It'd be nice to finally start to become a bit successful and stop being poor all the time. Right, that might fix the issue. Kids, wife, pets? Nope, none of those. Do you use stock and Vim? I just use regular Vim. A lot of people have been asking me to use NeoVim, but I tried it and haven't really. I haven't found a reason to use it. I guess people have said that it works well with language servers. So eventually I may use it because of that. You don't want any? No, it's just been not possible. I've been working every day for years and years. I decided to go into tech. Tech is almost 100% male. So the number of women you encounter in this career path is extremely small. All right, that looks like that might work. Nice, and it's nice and fast. Oh, that's awesome. Still a bit laggy. Oh yeah. I hear you, but you want a family in the future once you get where you want to be. Yeah, but there's the ability to achieve that is constrained by the state of the world. I've been in a constant state of financial and housing crisis for years. So it's just not realistic at this point. Does this game have save its state? And is there an end conclusion? No. It does save its state, but there's no like win in the game. It's honestly it's so simple and primitive now. It's like barely, you can barely even call it a game. Looks so much better. Yeah, I guess it depends when you last checked it, but it's looked the same for a while now. The thing I'm working on now is trying to like it basically looks the same as it's looked for days, or for like, you know, the past 30 days I've been working on this, but I've been refactoring a bunch of the like layer merging stuff. So I had like 5 different functions that were responsible for like merging the layers together. So like I've been away for longer than that. Okay. Yeah. The one of the main things I added was this layering, so you can see the caves a little bit more. But yeah, recently the main thing has been to I had kind of a spaghetti code that controlled the layer separation. So the help menu is in a separate layer, and to like merge the layers together. And I also move the character player out into its own layer. So one of the optimizations I plan to add is when I move the character, instead of like re-rendering every single block, I have my 3D circular buffer class, so it'll just translate the whole buffer by an amount, and then it'll re-render the edge. So that should make it even faster. But yeah, so it's 1:05. I guess it's time to call it a night. That was a productive stream. I got that layer merging function fixed. All right, have a good night, guys.